Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time we bump up the stakes. I mean, y'all have seen us getting into a lot of $5, $7 drafts on Underdog. And yes, I may or may not have drafted about 10 Poodle 2 teams earlier this morning. But they just launched a new tournament contest. Of course, you can see all the NFL tournaments that they have going on right here. Yeah, Best Ball Mania, $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool. Poodle 2, $7 buy-in, $300,000 prize pool. There is a smaller tournament, however, that just got launched called the Chow Chow. We're going to go ahead. We are going to hop in here. It's a smaller tournament, so I don't know how long this draft room is going to take to fill, but nonetheless, going to be excited to see if we can get this going. We have about 9 spots open, so maybe if this does get filled, it means we have a lot of people that are a part of the flock getting in this draft with us right now. But thank you so much for everybody coming out and hanging out with us. We have Crosby, Kevin, again, Mike. We have Jeep Guy out here as always. Thank you all so much for coming to hang out. Matthew says, I was in a poodle with you earlier, had pick 1 and you had 5. I think I had honestly 2 or 3 drafts earlier today where we were pick 5. Mike says, let's go. Yes, sir. And real quick, as we wait for this to fill, we're in the chat. There are 4 spots open. Let's go through and let's look a little more in depth of what this tournament is. I don't think Underdog's ever launched this tournament before, but it's $50,000 to first place. It's a $50 buy-in, so that'd be pretty damn nice. $25,000 to second, $15,000 to third. So it's going to be a contest that is about 5,500 entries. Right now, it looks like there have been about 170 into this. And hell, we pulled pick 5. Okay, so like we said, we were already in a couple drafts earlier today on Underdog with pick 5. So very comfortable around here. Honestly, I think that we'll probably be in a pretty damn good spot. But just in case you don't know what this is, we do this every single day on the live stream. This is Underdog Fantasy best ball tournaments where there's no time commitment at all during the season. That's how I drafted over 700 teams last year. And with these massive large field tournaments, there are serious dollars up at the very top. That's how we won $150,000 on Underdog last season. If you want to get in a draft with us today, you can do so on Underdog Fantasy. We're going to do this every single day until the season starts. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Also, with promo code FLOCK, you are going to be getting our 2023 fantasy football rankings. And this is a map of everywhere Underdog is available. So if your state's in gray, I am sorry you do not have Underdog Fantasy, but pretty much every single state does, or at least 90% of them. And it's available in Canada as well, outside of Ontario. We have one other announcement that we need to be making as well. We'll get to that one second. Let's see what we are going to be getting at pick 5 here. You have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Zach decides to go CMC. Okay, great. We are going to get a wide receiver. Thought we were possibly going to have to go through and reach on Stephon Diggs. That's what happens to us in a decent amount of these. But we will get Cooper Kupp here at pick 5. You're seeing not present at the start of OTAs. Matthew Stafford looks healthy. Not worried at all. Golf for life. Long time member of the flock. Happy to see you out here, my man. But one announcement that I do need to make real quick is y'all know we've been talking about this for quite some time. If you are a member of flockfantasy.com and use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy, then you are eligible to get a free piece of merch. We are rocking it right now. This is a Flock Underdog merch. If you want your shirt, make sure you go and fill out the form that's in our Discord under the announcements. And also, if you are a member of flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy, you now have it integrated into flockfantasy.com, a way for you to get an additional free $10 on Underdog. All you have to do is go to your account page on flockfantasy.com, put in your Underdog username in the clear section, and then Underdog will automatically credit you with $10 in your account if you are a flockfantasy.com customer. So make sure, if you've signed up for flockfantasy.com and you're on Underdog, not only do you go through and get your exclusive piece of merch if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog, but also if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, you can go through and you can get that additional $10 added into your Underdog account right now. So just go and put in your Underdog username on the account page, then go to your Underdog account and look at the transactions history, and you should see an extra $10 added to your account. But the legendary gamer coming out says, how's it going, man? Just subbed. Hit that like, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, thank you so much for joining the flock. Nathan says, so excited for the merch. Yes, sir. I've been working my ass off to make sure that we're going to be able to ship all that out. Hopefully this weekend we can print all those labels and go. They're all packaged and good to go. I'm just having to go through and get everything organized as we figure out who's getting what, etc. Okay, so let's swing this back around. Renegade on the clock. Goes Tony Pollard. So we'll go ahead. We will, quote unquote, reach on our guy here. We will get Chris Olave. I mean, there are going to be a ton of running backs that I'm completely fine with at pick 29. I would rather go Chris Olave here and then Breece Hall at pick 29 than go Nick Chubb here and then be looking at possibly having to draft Deebo Samuel at 29. So personally, Kupp, Olave, very comfortable with the start, knowing that we're going to get a running back in round 3 that we're excited about. But I'm sure y'all have heard me say this a million times by now, so we don't have to continue to talk about it. But one thing that I do want to point out and one thing that I do want to note is you will see more and more those quarterbacks that were those top 3 guys going at the 1-2 turn right when these draft contests opened. We said we are not touching them there. We will draft them in the 3rd round. And more drafts you are seeing Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts slipped around 3. Now, here, Mahomes goes 18 to stack with the Travis Kelce team. This is something that you see quite often. But you also have 2 of those guys falling to round 3. So what I would encourage you, just like I encouraged right when these draft contests opened, to not take those quarterbacks at the very top. Don't be taking Jalen Hurts here at pick 16, pick 15 to stack with A.J. Brown, or at least I want it, right? And I think as we get closer to the start of the season and as more and more days go on, you will see more and more values that you're getting at the quarterback position. Like here, Zachary may be able to pair up Jalen Hurts with Devonta Smith, depending on if Fantasy Dog Pound, member of the flock out here, decides to pass on Hurts with the assumption that maybe he's getting Burrow on the way back around at pick 47 to get the double stack of Chase and Higgins. Going to be very interested to see what he does here. Yeah, so he passes on Jalen Hurts. So I'm assuming he's going for Burrow pick 47. Zach gets Jalen Hurts pick 27 to pair up with Devonta Smith. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense for both of those people. Okay, so let's swing this around. And JJ on the clock has Jacobs, Tyreek Hill. So willing to go out of their way and reach on a player according to ADP. Takes Josh Jacobs there most when it goes Lamar Jackson. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get Derrick Henry. This is why we decided to pass on Nick Chubb in the 2nd round. I would rather have the combo of Chris Olave and Derrick Henry than the combo of Nick Chubb as well as Deebo Samuel or Nick Chubb as well as DK Metcalf. But real quick, we have a new member of the flock out here, Leslie. Thank you so much for joining. I believe we have like 10 members on YouTube now. That is awesome. My man, thank you so much. Logan Johnson out here says, gang, gang. My man, appreciate you out here. Do recognize your profile pic. I know you're always dropping likes on our tweets, which I really appreciate. Okay, so now Tebow says, would you take Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts at pick 29? Yes, if Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts would have fallen to us at pick 29, I would have been ecstatic to take them. I would have been very, very excited about that. Okay, so now we have Breece Hall going off the board, pick 33. I mean, incredible value with Breece Hall. Incredible value. Like, I really like what Gallus has done here. He's out here in the chat as well, going A.J. Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall with the first 3 picks. I love it so much. Tank says Team 6 is wild. Adams, Pollard, Deebo, we can say definitely. Nobody's going to have that start, right? You have Pollard that goes here at the 2-3 turn. You have Adams that goes at the 1-2 turn. So, yeah, I mean, this is a combo that nobody in this tournament is going to have. And, I mean, we reached for Davante Adams in the live stream yesterday, right? I mean, we took Davante Adams, I believe, pick what? What was it? Wait, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? When you're doing this every single day, I mean, it blends together, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we took Davante Adams ahead of CMC and Travis Kelce at like pick 7 or 8. Something along those lines. Maybe it was pick 7, because I know a lot of people thought we were crazy for reaching on him, and I still stand by the decision. Okay. Now, yeah, Michael says it was pick 7 that we went through and took Davante Adams. Kevin says, love your start, Mason. Thank you, my friend. I've actually drafted a lot of Derrick Henry this year. There's some very real red flags with Derrick Henry. Like, I can't sit here and say that Derrick Henry is the best value in these drafts. With Derrick Henry, the man's about to be 30. With Derrick Henry, he's going to be in a very bad offense. So it's not like Derrick Henry's a clear smash pick. But if we're getting him mid-round 3 in the majority of these drafts, I am fine with the red flags with that cost. I'm fine going through and pulling the trigger on that. Okay. Now, Mike Williams going off the board here, pick 40. Interesting. Fields goes 41. I've seen Gibbs falling a decent amount as well. That team goes DJ Moore for their second wide receiver. They have the Mahomes, Travis Kelce stack. Renegade, this team's been all over the board, so they're willing to go out there and they're willing to get their guy. They don't really care too much about ADP. They go Aaron Jones. You know, on the opposite end of the spectrum, your boy really does care about ADP when I'm going to draft 700 of these teams. So when I really care about ADP and I see Jahmyr Gibbs falling to us at pick 44, I will go ahead. We will take Jahmyr Gibbs here, though. If you are tracking where his ADP is sliding, very rarely are you seeing Jahmyr Gibbs go in round 3 anymore. You are seeing Gibbs fall to the middle of the 4th more often than not. Okay. So now we have Joe Burrow going 45. Interesting selection from JJ. I personally really don't like it. I mean, I understand if you want to go Lamar Jackson 28. Sure, if you believe Lamar can be the quarterback 1 overall with his rushing. Fantasy Dog Pound must be steaming out here. Not getting Burrow. I mean, he probably expected for sure he was going to have Burrow falling to him at 47. Whenever I passed on Burrow at 44 and the only other teams had Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. So yeah, the pound out here in the chat going LOL. I'm sorry, my man. I have no idea why they stole Burrow from you. Just brutal. One other thing that I noticed is Burrow does fall to the Jamar Chase team more and more. So the pound ends up switching and pivoting over to the Los Angeles Chargers stack, going with Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert there. Kenneth Walker, someone else that's been falling down these draft boards. Okay, this is the team that just took Burrow and Lamar, so they can really do anything. You don't really know. Okay, let's see something crazy here. They go Ayuk. Okay, good for us. We're going to get Terry McLaurin falling to us. If Terry McLaurin didn't go, instead, we probably would have pivoted over to going with Michael Pittman just to make sure that we were going to get that third wide receiver, because generally I'm more comfortable with the running backs that may fall to us in the 6th round than I am with the wide receivers there. So yeah, Terry McLaurin, pick 53. Very, very nice for us. I mean, that's pretty much exactly what we are looking for. Okay. Yeah, Mike says, bro's probably fuming. Mike says, good move, pound. I mean, I still like having the correlation between Chase and Higgins. And I actually have a video that comes out later today that I think is going to be extremely useful for everybody, where we go through and we take a deep dive into stacking in these underdog drafts. And we look at historically what has been good, what has been bad. And I think we'll have some very surprising information for everybody in the video later today. Like it's going to be one of the more useful videos that we've made in quite some time. Yoda says, I only signed up for Underdog like a week ago and have already done 25 drafts. Been loving it. Yes, sir. I'd say if you just sign up for Underdog, definitely recommend just hopping in like the $5 drafts, the $7 drafts whenever they have those tournaments out. I'm sure, of course, I can't be guaranteed, but I'm assuming that they'll probably have the $3 Pomeranian at some points this offseason. Like they had $3 Pomeranian drafts, which had 0 rake multiple times last year. So if you're like a beginner on Underdog, definitely recommend going into like the lower stakes drafts. That way you can get a better feel of the overall draft board. I mean, if you're looking at, in my mind, the drafts we are doing a month ago on this live stream right after the NFL draft versus the drafts that we're doing today, I think I am a significantly better drafter today than I was a month ago. I think that's why we had a ton of success on Underdog last year, is because what I generally do is earlier in the offseason, fire up as many $3, $5 drafts as I possibly can. And once I'm 400, 500 of those drafts deep, then once we get closer to the season and they launch the big dog which is the $250 buy-in, then I just start firing those off every single day. And I have all that experience from like the cheaper, I kind of treat them as mock drafts on Underdog, where we were able to crush in the high stakes leagues last season. Okay. Now, Damian Pierce off the board, 65. Jordan Addison goes 66. Rashad White goes, okay, so we are going to get Miles Sanders. Easy pick for us. It would have been very difficult if Miles Sanders would have gone. Can't really take Lawrence here, where we don't have Kirk, we don't have Ridley, we don't have ETN. We'd really be banking on getting, say, Evan Ingram in round like 8 or 9. And also, I've noticed Trevor Lawrence falling a decent amount as well. I mean, I think you're going to see more and more drafts where Trevor Lawrence goes to the 6-7 turn based on what's been happening over the past few days. But I hate taking Kadarius Toney. Like, even if Toney makes it to us pick 77, I probably won't take Kadarius Toney. So we get lucky to have Miles Sanders falling to us this far. So far, this team, pretty well balanced. I mean, if we're looking at our running backs, wide receivers, we have 3 of each. We have Cooper Kupp, Chris Olave, Terry McLaurin at wide receiver. And at running back, we have Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, as well as Miles Sanders. So one thing that I want to look at the possibility of is, would we take Trevor Lawrence if he were to make it back around to us? Now, if I was a betting man, I would say if someone takes Trevor Lawrence here, it most likely is Zachary at pick 75. I don't really see the Pounds taking Lawrence. I don't really see Joe taking Lawrence based off their roster constructions. JJ is a complete wild card. They shouldn't take Trevor Lawrence, but you don't really know what they're going to do. If Lawrence were to fall to us at pick 77 based off the ADP value, we probably have to go ahead and pull the trigger and then try to get Evan Ingram at pick 92, and we can also get Zay Jones a little later on. The one person that I think could take Lawrence is going to be Zach. You don't know if he does because he already has Jalen Hurts, so you don't know what his quarterback strategy is going to be. But yeah, we will take Lawrence if he makes it to us at 77. Okay. Now, Mike says, hit the like button for one more draft. Yes, sir. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 350 likes, we'll fire up another draft after this one. And we have over 400 people watching this right now. He says you won 150, but how much did you spend? Like on drafts? I think maybe like 8 or 9. Oh, significantly less than 10%. Okay, we pretty much... Okay, yeah, we're going to get Lawrence here. We about 10 to 20 extra money, so somewhere in that realm. Now, we are going to go ahead and we are going to take Lawrence, and personally, love the value. Going to be very interested to see if we can get Evan Ingram a little later on. Going to be very interested to see if we can go through and get Zay Jones a little later on. Now, one thing that's interesting to note is if you're looking at where the tight ends have gone off the board, primarily they've gone off the board in the second half where we have to assume that Evan Ingram dodges these teams, right? But this team here, MSB, is Kelsey. This team here has George Kittle. This team has Dallas Goedert. This team has Mark Andrews. And this team has Kyle Pitts. So I think we're probably likely to get Evan Ingram on the way back around. Of course, by no means is it a guarantee, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Let's swing this around. Akers makes it to 82. That's later than I've seen Akers fall in a long, long time. Eric says, I see you pivoted tournaments because you know I'm taking the poodle too, Mason. Wishing you the best of luck, my friend. Wishing you the best of luck, but I may or may not have had some nasty, nasty poodle 2 drafts. Okay, so let's swing this around. We have Deontay Johnson off the board here at 83. And the comedic genius coming out with the donation, thank you so much, says, just traded Jamar for Garrett Wilson and Kyler Murray. What are your thoughts? It's a first-year 2 quarterback PPR Dynasty League. Also a big fan. Keep up the work. Thank you so much, my friend. I would say this is going to be a 12-team or more 2 quarterback league. I personally like it. If you're looking at Kyler Murray as well as Garrett Wilson in that format, you're looking at 2 second-round startup picks versus Jamar Chase being a late first-round startup pick. So if it is like a 12-team or more league, I like the trade. However, if it's like a 8-team league, if it's a 10-team format and it's extremely shallow, there it's going to be a little difficult to sell the stud. Leslie says Akers is a steal that late. Was praying to get him. Well, yeah, I would say Akers 82, a pretty strong value. Pretty strong value. Okay. Now we have Connor, Thomas. Okay, I bet we get Evan Ingram making it back to us. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, Montgomery goes. Brandon Cook's off the board. Renegade doesn't have a tight end. Renegade's definitely willing to ignore ADP and go based off their own rankings, based on the team they have so far. MSB, interesting team here. Goes Javonte. Personally, I've been taking a lot of Javonte Williams in this range. I just think it's great value. And we will go ahead. We will grab Evan Ingram to pair up with the insane value that we got on Trevor Lawrence. This is a beautiful roster, ladies and gentlemen. This is a beautiful, beautiful team. Wide receiver, Kupp, Olave, McLaurin. Running back, Henry, Gibbs, Sanders. Quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Tight end, Evan Ingram. Love the team that we've been able to draft so far. Now, I'm going to keep my lips sealed for just 1 second, but definitely need to make an adjustment based on something that just went down in this draft. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, but there was just a draft pick that I think is going to change the context of this board just a little bit later on. And when we get the opportunity, we should go ahead and try to take advantage. Let's see. Let's see. Nathan says, personally love this team a lot. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Okay, Sutton goes 96. Cousins goes 97. Okay, so that team had Dalvin and Justin Jefferson. And the $500 Bulldog draft I'm in right now, I mean, I took Dalvin significantly behind ADP, and I believe we're about to take Cousins significantly behind ADP. We don't have Jefferson. We don't have Addison. We don't have Hawkinson. So it's like a team that's saying, oh, okay, well, what if you end up getting Dalvin Cook staying in Minnesota? And if that were to occur, it's probably a pretty strong pick. Yeah, I mean, in that draft, we're pick 116, Cousins with an ADP of 101. Pretty sure we're taking him. Now, Zach Charbonnet goes off the board here. Y'all know me. I'm going to be taking a running back. In this range, I don't want to mess with these wide receivers. In this range, I don't freaking care. We're going to go ahead, even if wide receivers a stronger quote-unquote need with this team. I just think that if you're looking at the range of outcomes, I would much prefer having James Cook, Rashad Bateman, Jameson Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster. Give me a running back here, whether that was Kamara or James Cook. We were going to go ahead and pull the trigger. Definitely wide receiver is a bigger team need, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. Mr. Shock says, like the stream where you must draft Zach Wilson. I'm not going to lie. I believe there was a $500 draft last year where I took Zach Wilson. It was painful. Painful. Jason says, your stalling is killing me in the Bulldog. Oh, Jason, you're in the Bulldog drafting me? That is awesome. That's the $500 draft, ladies and gentlemen. Jason, I don't mean to intimidate you, but you're looking at the winner of the Bulldog 2 last year. All right? So maybe there's a thought process here behind the stalling, but we'll see. We'll see. Like, the thing is, like, for that instance, right, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, we're probably going to take Cousins, and maybe in some alternate universe, Dalvin Cook ends up staying on the Minnesota Vikings, and we have that stack, blah, blah, blah. Well, if Dalvin Cook were to get traded in an hour, and all of a sudden that thought process completely goes out the window, should I still take Kirk Cousins? That makes sense? I don't know. Okay. Nick says, was that the Bulldog where you started CMC Barkley? Yes, that was. I started CMC Barkley, and I believe I had third round A.J. Brown as well. Chief Smoke says, are you standing up, bro? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hayes ID says, are you maxing out the Bulldog? Hell no. I wish I had it like that, my friend. I wish I was reckless enough to do that. I will get probably one Bulldog draft in, one Bulldog 2 draft in, and then from there, probably a couple big dogs. The only thing we're going to max out will be Best Ball Mania. Okay, so let's swing this around. Njoku goes off the board. That was the team that took Deshaun Watson. So pretty strong value on David Njoku there. What's the blurb that you're getting with Brian Robinson? Healthy for OTAs. Okay. There are two guys that I would love to have. Quarterback's fallen off. But there are two guys that I would really be trying to go after if we can. Frymuth goes 112. Zach says he started CMC, Barkley, Debo Hawkinson, and my Dalmatian. How the hell did he get Barkley falling that far in the second round? Say if I were to go like back-to-back running back, I probably don't pick Hawkinson. I probably pivot over and go. Okay, real quick, one of the guys that we wanted was Pat Frymuth. So looks like we're going to be taking Brian Robinson. Most people will hate this selection, and I completely understand why. We are definitely in the range where we have a much larger need at wide receiver than we have running back. But going back to this is why I have drafted Christian McCaffrey in 0% of my drafts so far this season. This is why I've drafted Bijan Robinson in only 1% of my drafts so far this year, even though he actually falls all the way to pick 12 here. Usually you see him go off the board at 5, 6, 7. But the reason for this is I really prefer grabbing the running back values in the middle rounds. So we go Cup, we go Olave out the gate. That way we can, quote unquote, overdraft running backs here in the middle rounds where, in my mind, they are significantly better values. Now, Zay Jones goes off the board at 117. Zay Jones was definitely going to be a target that we were looking at on the way back around a 125. It is what it is. We'll figure it out. We're going to have to draft a lot of wide receivers. So let's move this. Gibson goes, Penny goes. Obviously, when we're 5 running backs deep through the first 10 rounds, we are really wanting to see teams draft running back. That is the number one thing that we are wanting to see. We personally cannot take any running backs. We are exclusively quarterback, wide receiver, tight end from here on out. Wise Guy says take Jared Goff. Definitely Goff would be in play for us here to pair up with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Goff maybe is already off the board though, right? Yeah, where is Goff? Yeah, Goff was drafted by Renegade. Renegade took Jared Goff at pick 102. So Goff would have been in play for us, my friend, but sadly, he's not even here. Okay. Okay, so let's see this. Elijah Mitchell off the board. Personally, y'all know I've been drafting a lot of Elijah Mitchell in this range. I mean, I just pretty much think rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, wide receivers are all pretty bad. That's why generally we try to get as few of these guys as possible. But looks like we will not be able to do that right now. Now, this is a team that has 3 quarterbacks, has Lamar, Burrow, as well as Tua. Going to give us Odell Beckham Jr. here at pick 125. Getting 15 picks of value on Odell. No idea if he's going to be good at all. We're looking for 1 to 2 massive spike weeks. Of course, the only way that this team is going to be competitive is if we get a healthy Cooper Kupp and Chris Olave throughout the course of the season, and they both dominate. So we're just looking for a couple random spike weeks here from our later wide receivers. Odell possibly can give us a few big plays. But yeah, so far, wide receiver, we have Kupp, Olave, McLaurin, Odell Beckham Jr. Running back, we have Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Miles Sanders, James Cook, Brian Robinson. Quarterback, we have Trevor Lawrence stacked up with Evan Ingram at tight end. Okay. Andrew says, have you ever looked at a team after drafting and just knew it wasn't that special? Every other draft we have on the live stream, my friend, if you watch us, I go, okay, yeah, this was bad. This was embarrassing. Hopefully we'll do better tomorrow. Like the majority of teams we say, I'm like, okay, this is a bad team. This is a bad team. Now, Mike says there is more than 400 people up in here. Let's get those likes up for another draft. Yes, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 350, we'll fire up another Underdog draft after this one. And of course, if you want to get in our next Underdog draft, you can do so on Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. You'll get a 100% deposit match. Not only will you get a 100% deposit match, but at the same time, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. You'll get a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And if you are a member of flockfantasy.com, and not just a free trial, but an actual paid member of the Flock, then you can connect your Underdog account on flockfantasy.com now with your account page. Put in your Underdog username, and then you should automatically get $10 accredited to your Underdog account. You can confirm that that happened by going to your transaction history on Underdog, which is your account page on Underdog, and you'll see $10 deposit or $10 bonus, something along those lines. I think maybe it's deposit bonus. And also, if you signed up with promo code FLOCK and you're a member of flockfantasy.com, make sure you fill out the Google form in the Discord. That way you can get yourself some exclusive Flock/Underdog merch. But let's see. Nico Collins goes off the board 132. Sky Moore goes 131. So hopefully, these wide receivers stop getting drafted. Miller off, good for us. We are exclusively quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. We are done with running backs. So Gallup goes 134. What's the blurb on Rice? Okay, it's not showing up on the computer. Let's see if it's on the phone. It does feel good now that we are getting closer to the season and we're in OTAs to actually be able to see that little blurb and read, oh, okay, what's going on with this guy? Okay, so Rice off the board. Cole Kmet goes 137. Roshan 138, good for us. Okay, we'll go ahead. We'll take Dalton Schultz. If we take Dalton Schultz here, I'm pretty comfortable only drafting 2 tight ends with Evan Ingram and Dalton Schultz. Hopefully, just hopefully, these guys get the job done for us. Obviously, Ingram was a very strong option at the end of this past season. You should assume that we get some natural regression from Evan Ingram. However, given the fact that you are getting the addition of Calvin Ridley, you should take up a decent amount of targets in Jacksonville. With Dalton Schultz, I mean, this is a tight end that at the end of the day is probably not that good, but he has very limited competition in Houston. So we'll go ahead. We'll take him at 140. The wide receivers in this range are straight up garbage. Like the wide receivers at pick 140 are going to be the same as the wide receivers at pick 149. So we'll go ahead and we'll wait to see what we get at 149. Okay. Nick says, are you selling Flock merch? I'd love to support that way as well. I'm sorry, my friend. So far, I mean, I'm sure you know that we gave away the Flock hats for free, giving away the Flock shirts for free. We have never sold merch. Like we're giving it away for like a member of the Flock, but I think we're going to do just like a lot of free giveaways like that. So if you signed up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, or if you signed up to flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK, probably going to be giving away like a lot of free merch that way as we've done in years past. And in my mind, that's a little bit of a better way to go about it than just quote unquote like selling a shirt. Okay, now Romeo Doubs off the board. Okay, y'all know I'm not a big Hyatt guy. If we were looking at the quarterbacks in this range, Derek Carr could be in play for us. We do have Chris Olave. Kyler Murray is someone that we've been taking for some potential spike weeks a little later on. Hyatt, I just think is bad. Jordan Love, not really in play for us. Fantasy Dog Pound goes Alec Pierce. Figured he was going to go Pierce given the fact that you were looking at a situation where he had Anthony Richardson. Okay, what am I doing here? Come on, Mason. JJ, this team kind of do anything. They go Singletary. I do not like Jalen Hyatt. I think at ADP, Jalen Hyatt's a bad selection. And to be honest with you, I think Hyatt's probably still a bad selection at 149. But we need to be adding in wide receivers that can give us some spike weeks. We took Kupp, so we still have the ability to just grab Matthew Stafford at the very end of this draft. If you're looking at where Stafford's going, I mean, right now, did he already go? Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, no. Stafford has an ADP of 157, but you see Stafford consistently fall to the end of the 15th round. So we will take Hyatt's, but it's not great. Nick says, if I signed up with a different promo code a few years back, but still subscribed to the Flock site, would that qualify for the merch giveaway? So the merch giveaway is specifically only for people who use promo code Flock on Underdog. But if you are a member of flockfantasy.com, you qualify for that free $10 credit no matter what. It doesn't matter if you signed up with a different promo code years ago on Underdog Fantasy. Link your Underdog account if you're a member of flockfantasy.com. You're going to get the $10 bonus added to your account no matter what, my friend. But I'm sorry if we weren't clear with that. And I know it's a little confusing. Logo says has to be Carr, right? I understand a lot of people probably wanted us to go Carr. We'll see if we end up getting Matthew Stafford on the way back around. If not, we may have to. Our feet may be held to the fire. We may be forced. My hands, it'll be out of my hands. We may have to take Trey Lance this next round. Now, like I said, I would never want to do such a thing. I would never be dumb enough to go through and think that Trey Lance is a good pick in fantasy football drafts in the year of 2023. But if y'all make me do it, I will reluctantly have to draft Trey Lance at pick 164. But we'll see. Salim says Mason drafting Trey Lance, you would never. I know, my man. Doesn't seem possible, but oh my gosh, Stafford's off the board 159. Stafford off the board. It looks like we may have to. Looks like I may not have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Downs going 161. MSB only has one tight end. So the thing is, if we're looking at taking, if y'all are going to make me do it, if I'm going to be forced to take Trey Lance here, JJ already has Lamar, Burrow, Tua. Zachary already has Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. And the Pound already has Justin Herbert and Anthony Richardson. So none of them will be making the disastrous selection of Trey Lance here in round 14/15. So we will take Marquez Valdes-Scantling, just another bad wide receiver that can hopefully one day give us a spike week. And then we will queue up Trey Lance on the way back around. Now, we do not have a stack with Trey Lance, but I've been told from Trey Lance truthers that the man has a lot of rushing upside, and you could see spike weeks even if he himself does not pop off with a wide receiver, a running back, or tight end in the same offense. So we'll see. Now Zeke goes off the board 168. Tesla says, reports say Trey Lance has been taking first team reps and looking good in OTAs. Hashtag Lance Agenda. My man. I don't know if you've heard, but the actual smart people know that Sam Darnold is starting over Trey Lance. Yeah, you know that guy Trey Lance, the bum who the 49ers traded 3 first-round picks to go out there and get, and was bad enough to get injured last year? Like, can you believe it? He was bad enough, unskilled enough, untalented enough to get injured. There's no way he's taking first team reps over Sam Darnold. I don't want to hear this propaganda in this live chat. Okay. Now, Jawan Johnson off the board at 170. I've seen Jawan Johnson falling a considerable amount in these drafts as well. I mean, I think he's a great third tight end on a 3 tight end build like the Pound has here. Okay, so Michael Mayer goes 171. Okay, we just won this draft, ladies and gentlemen. We just won this draft. JJ, what you doing here, my man? What are you doing? Goes Hubbard. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We will take Trey Lance. Now, as I take Trey Lance, let me get out my phone and tell you how many teams I've drafted Trey Lance with. We have drafted today now over 100 teams on Underdog. And let's see the percentage of these drafts that may or may not allegedly have Trey Lance in them. We have 27% of our teams with Trey Lance. After this draft, probably be 28%. So, feeling good. The other guys we have over 20%, JT, Kamara, Stephon Diggs. Okay. Eric says, same bye week, Mason. This is one thing that I think literally could not matter less. If you were looking at Underdog Fantasy tournaments, where we are trying to optimize to have the highest ceiling for weeks 15, 16, and 17, I personally could not care less about my players sharing the same random week 6 bye. If anything, I would kind of like it, knowing the rest of the field is going through and looking to avoid it. And we could go to the fantasy football tournament with a significantly low owned pair. So personally, I think going through and worrying about bye weeks, maybe in a underdog draft where it's a private draft and it's just total points scored at the end of the year, yes, that would matter. But if it is going to be a league where you're optimizing for weeks 15, 16, 17 for the fantasy football playoff tournament, personally, I do not care about bye weeks in that specific draft format, which is what we're playing in. Okay. Now, real quick, if you have not done so already, we are 30 likes away from firing up another draft after this one. What I would love for you to do is go down there, hit that like button, give us our next 30 likes. That way I don't have to sit here and draft 3 nasty wide receivers, and instead I can just queue these guys up, and then we can hop in another draft right this second. So yes, if you have not done so already, make sure you go down there and drop a like, and we'll take Rondale Moore. What's so funny is Rondale Moore's ADP is fake. Like, honestly, it kind of was last year as well. Like, he has an ADP of 177. I do not think I have ever seen Rondale Moore go at or before pick 177. Rondale Moore always falls behind that point. Big Mike says, just got here. Is this the new Chow Chow? Yes, sir. This is the new Chow Chow. Let's go ahead and let's pull up this draft if you just now got here, my friend. Okay, this is a team where we have at running back, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Miles Sanders, James Cook, as well as Brian Robinson. Quarterback, we have Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance. Tight end, we have Evan Ingram, Dalton Schultz. And then at wide receiver, we have Kupp, Olave, McLaurin, Odell, Jalen Hyatt, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, as well as Rondale Moore. Okay. So let's go ahead. Gus Edwards. Okay, what are we doing? Hunt goes. Yeah, a running back's just not in play for us at all. Maybe, just maybe, we could take a tight end or a third quarterback. Before we do that, let's just lock in another wide receiver because we know we have to. And then let me sit here and mule over if we should make the correct decision and draft another wide receiver, or if we should just play it quote unquote safe and grab a third quarterback or a third tight end. I'm not going to grab a third quarterback. We're not doing that. Third tight end, however, could possibly be in play because at the end of the day, they could also go in our flex spot. Okay. We're going to keep this a mystery. Looks like we hit 350 likes on this live stream. So let's go ahead and let's hop into another draft here. We're going to get into the $50 Chow Chow. We titled this live stream as a high stakes fantasy football draft. So here we have $100 of drafts underway. So let's get into another one. Let's see where we are. Pick 7. Okay. Let me go back to the other draft just to make sure we're not auto drafting. Okay, we queued up a bunch of random tight ends and wide receivers. We'll just see whatever happens. But in this draft right now, oh dear God, we have a ton of red badges. Red badge, red badge, red badge, black badge, red badge, red badge, red badge, red badge, black badge, red badge. Prod is a member of the flock at 8. Going to make our life a little difficult. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be difficult. Leslie says, how do you get red badges? To get a red badge, you have to draft in way too many underdog drafts. I believe you have to have drafted like 1,000 teams on Underdog. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe you need like 1,000 drafts on Underdog to get a red badge. And we're off. Justin Jefferson off the board here at 1. Roll says 1 badge, 2 badge, red badge, blue badge. Love it, my friend. Now, Chase going off the board here at pick 2. And of course, if y'all want to get in a draft with us on Underdog Fantasy, you can do so. Link in the live chat, link in the comment section. Sign up with promo code FLOCK and you're going to get a 100% deposit match. Not only are you going to get a 100% deposit match, but at the same time, you're going to get access to my 2023 fantasy football rankings. You get a free trial to flockfantasy.com. And if you are a member of the Flock on flockfantasy.com, make sure that you go to the Discord, fill out the Google form. If you are a member of flockfantasy.com and you used promo code FLOCK on Underdog, then you have some exclusive merch going in your way. Just fill out that Google form so I can get it for you. And then also, if you are a member of flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy, go to your flockfantasy.com account page, enter in your Underdog Fantasy username. That way you can go ahead and that way you can claim your free additional $10 Underdog credit. It doesn't matter if you signed up to Underdog a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. If you are a member of flockfantasy.com and have made a purchase, you can go ahead and get $10 added in to your Underdog account. Okay. But yeah, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Stephon Diggs. Kevin already knows this out the gate. And yeah, so Charles says 500 for a black badge, 1,000 for a red badge. Yes, that's what I was saying. To get a red badge, you have to have been in way too many of these Underdog drafts. So if we get in here and you just see red badges across the board, you have a pretty good idea that these people at least know what's going on. Like, you're not hopping into a draft with someone who is just completely lost. Okay. A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams. Big Mike says, when would you draft Kelsey? I think on flockfantasy.com, we have Travis Kelsey ranked at like 10 or 11. Just in reality, it's just so much easier for me to be able to go through and grab a wide receiver and then build later on. Okay, so St. Brown goes. This is how I rank these guys here. Ooh, sorry. Can't see. We go Taylor, Barkley, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, and Chris Olave. I also have Saquon Barkley over Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that means that a lot of these drafts, I am drafting Saquon Barkley, and not many of them am I drafting Garrett Wilson as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown, because it seems like the vast majority of people at this point would prefer the wide receivers over Barkley, which, I mean, I understand, because taking Barkley over the receiver does make it difficult for your life a little later on in this draft. It's just, in my mind, I have a very difficult time going ahead and taking, say, Garrett Wilson over Barkley, right? But we're going to get either Barkley or Jalen Waddle here. We'll be fine with either. Okay. Jalen Waddle goes, so we'll go ahead and we'll get Saquon Barkley. I have a lot of drafts where we go Stephon Diggs, Saquon Barkley out the gate. I'd say that some of my most common starts are Stephon Diggs, Jonathan Taylor, Stephon Diggs, Saquon Barkley. Like, we have 20% Stephon Diggs. The reason for this is I personally will take Stephon Diggs over Bijan. I'll personally take Stephon Diggs over Travis Kelsey. And I also have about 20% Jonathan Taylor, because I personally will take Jonathan Taylor ahead of Garrett Wilson, ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And if you look at how the majority of these guys go in this draft, for whatever reason, it seems like that's a rare take. Okay, here, I'm going to turn on the fan. I need to know your opinion on if it makes any weird noise with the mic, because I was a little afraid of this in the first place. If you can hear the fan when I turn it on, let me know and I'll turn it off. All right, we'll see. We'll see. Now, Mahomes off the board, 24. We've talked about this time and time again. You're seeing these quarterbacks fall to round 3. If you're in these drafts enough, you've already known it by now. This is what you see. Rich says, does OTA news ever affect your rankings? Very rarely. The time that OTA news will affect your rankings is if we get clarity on an uncertain backfield, whereas maybe you realize, oh, okay, yeah, no, Jeff Wilson's definitely the guy over Raheem Mostert. If we get that clarity, we can make adjustments. Or if we get injury news where we hear, oh, hell, Javonte Williams is up, running around. Javonte Williams looks like he's good to go. If you get something like that, then yes, we're going to go ahead and we will adjust. Okay. Jeep guy, eardrums blown. Thank you. Okay. Ryan says, sounds fine. Thank you for letting me know. Now, Jacobs goes. So, Josh, oh my gosh, if we get, please, for the love of God, please, God. Oh my gosh. Make it. I thought we were getting Josh Allen making it to us to pick 31 to stack Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs and have a start of Diggs, Barkley, Allen. Oh. I'm so thrown off. I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to take Ramondre. Yes, that would have been beautiful. I would have lost my mind. I would have been so excited. But now you are seeing in real time, it's a $50 draft on Underdog. These quarterbacks are falling, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be the guy still taking these quarterbacks at the beginning of the second round. You shouldn't have been doing it previously. You shouldn't be doing it now. These guys will make it to you at the end of the third. Okay. Okay, so Debo goes 34. Keenan goes 35. Interesting start here. This team pairs up Eckler, Keenan. Do they go Herbert? We're going to see a Herbert pick at 38. No, they go Judy instead. They could not care less about ADP. They're going and getting their guys, which I love to see. Personally, as someone who does care about ADP, I love to see it when people throw it out the window. Hochberg has Taylor, Adams, Debo. Okay, goes Amari Cooper. Looks like we're looking at a running back here, ladies and gentlemen. ETN goes. I got Travis Etienne at like pick 45 earlier today. Like some nasty value with Travis Etienne. Prod goes Najee. Do we really want Gibbs? We drafted Gibbs earlier. Let's pivot. Let's go Mike Williams. I'm not going to take Justin Fields for a couple different reasons. One, and the primary one being, and why we're taking Mike Williams here, is I would be extremely confident in getting Justin Herbert falling to us at pick 55 in this draft. If you look at the Austin Eckler team and the Keenan Allen team, they are on the other end of the draft board from us. They're there at pick 11 and 35. So we are the only person right now that has the ability to stack up Mike Williams and Justin Herbert. Now, at the same time, you're looking at Allen, Burrow, Hurts, Mahomes, all being off the board after us. So if someone was to go through and take another quarterback here, they won't be taking Herbert. They'll be taking Justin Fields. So I think we can go Mike Williams here at pick 42 and essentially guarantee ourselves that we are going to get Justin Herbert on the way back around at 55. Or at least personally, what I've seen in these drafts, with my experience, I'm very confident to assume that's going to happen. Okay. Now we have Hawkinson, Walker off the board 48, 49. Fields goes 50 to pair up with DJ Moore at 47. So yeah, it looks like this is going to play out exactly how we thought. It looks like we are going to get Justin Herbert making it back to us. I'd be surprised if it does not happen at this point. And then also we'll be in a position where we could be looking at Quentin Johnston later on as well, given the fact that we're going to be a little closer to the back half of the draft. And generally you're getting Quentin Johnston going off the board about the 7-8 turn. So there's, I don't want to say a high likelihood, but the likelihood of Quentin Johnston falling to us in the middle of the 8th is going to be a little bit higher with this Justin Herbert build in comparison if we were a team that took Mike Williams at the end of the 4th and Justin Herbert at the beginning of the 5th. So there are a couple different reasons. Okay. Jeep Guy says, have you done a couple of these before, Mason? Yes. This may or may not be my first rodeo, ladies and gentlemen. May or may not be my first rodeo. This is the team that stole Josh Allen from us. Made us cry very real tears. They will not be taking Justin Herbert from us. I'm almost guaranteeing that. We will get Justin Herbert here at Pick 55 to pair up with a Big Mike. Yeah, Kittle goes, let's take Herbert. I think it was the right call to go ahead and take Mike Williams there and pass on Jahmyr Gibbs. The draft before this one, we took Gibbs, but it was a different start, a different context. In that draft, we started off Cooper Kupp as well as Chris Olave. So here, if we have, say, Saquon Barkley or Madre Stevenson in rounds 2 and 3, it's going to be a little more difficult for us to continue to go through and take those running backs. Okay. Now, Dobbins goes pick 56, and we'll have a running back that we like making a back round to us at 66 if we really wanted to go in that direction. But real quick, we almost have 500 people watching this live stream. Dear God, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. If we hit 550 likes in this stream, we are going to go ahead and we are going to fire up another draft after this one. And of course, if you want to get in our next draft, this is Underdog Fantasy. You can find the link to Underdog in the live chat in the description. In the comment section, sign up with promo code FLOCK for a 100% deposit match, plus our 2023 fantasy football rankings and a free trial to flockfantasy.com, and so much more if you're a member of flockfantasy.com as well, but we're not going to go back into it. Austin says, Trey Lance over Justin Herbert. Come on, Mason. Hey. What's nice is Lance and Herbert complement each other extremely well, right? Like if we wanted to go through and take Trey Lance on this team, this is the perfect build to do it because Trey Lance is going to score a zillion fantasy football points this next year and is going to go extremely late in fantasy drafts. So with that logic, Trey Lance is a perfect addition to this Justin Herbert build. Okay. Now Lawrence goes 64. Y'all know we got Lawrence, I believe it's 77 in the last draft. It's going to be another draft where we grab Miles Sanders. Kind of want Mixon. We'll go Sanders. We'll just have a unique build here with Miles Sanders at 66. And then we're most likely going to be looking at wide receiver with one of like Hollywood Brown, Gabe Davis, Deontay Johnson, Treylon Burks on the way back around. I would imagine we're probably not going to have access to pairing up Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, specifically because this team here in Slick Willie takes Josh Allen at pick 30. So I think we can assume they're targeting Gabe Davis at pick 78. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Mr. Shock says, are you concerned about Brock Purdy coming back and taking over if Lance plays poorly? Well, the thing with that, my friend, is I will personally make 1,000 Twitter accounts. I will personally make 1,000 Instagram accounts. And I will send messages every single day. And I will write letter after letter to Kyle Shanahan and every member of his family saying that we need Trey Lance to play. Okay. I'm going to subconsciously get in the mind of the entire Shanahan family. I will first start with Kyle Shanahan's wife. I will then move to Kyle Shanahan's kids and convince them slowly, one by one, that Trey Lance is who needs to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers, regardless of what happens at the beginning of the season. Okay, so don't you worry. Brock Purdy is not someone that we have to worry about. I will make sure personally that it doesn't happen. Now, Kadarius Toney goes pick 69. Personally, I think it's the worst pick in fantasy drafts right now. I understand yards per route run off the freaking charts, but at the same time, the man averaged about 7 routes run a game this past year. So, if you're looking at yards per route run off of 7 routes a game, good luck extrapolating that to a large sample. Okay. Now we have Burks going off the board. Like I said, we're most likely looking at Deontay, Gabe Davis, maybe even Jahan Dotson. We'll see. Zay Flowers goes 76. Very interesting to see Flowers that early. Okay, Deontay. Gabe Davis. We figured that team was going Gabe. Okay. Stay with the plan, Mason. Stay with the plan. Stay with the plan. Okay. We will reach and we will take Dotson here. We need a third wide receiver. Pacheco, the clear value on the board. But at the same time, if we do not take Jahan Dotson, the next wide receiver that we'll be looking at instead will most likely be Michael Thomas or Rashad Bateman. And if we pass on Isaiah Pacheco, the next running back that we'll be looking at will most likely be like David Montgomery or Javonte Williams. In my mind, the drop we're about to see from wide receiver to wide receiver around 7 to 8 is larger than the drop we're going to see from running back to running back. So we'll go ahead. We'll take Dotson. We won't risk it. Jeep guy out here, always happy to see you. My man says, any luck in getting any NFL players to come on the channel this year, Mason? Really enjoying every stream this season. Sadly, no. Okay, this is one thing that I may have to call out for the flock to help us out with. Probably going to wait a little closer to the season once we're stronger and we're in full force and we are all together. But once the flock is in full force and we are together, may have to call out, and y'all know my plan to go through and DM Kyle Shanahan and his family every day to make sure that Trey Lance is the starter. We may have to do that with like Bijan Robinson to get Bijan Robinson on Flock Fantasy for an interview. So as of today, my friend, no luck. We'll make it happen one of these days. Once we're a little stronger, in full form, like if we're like in a live stream right before the season, we have 1,000 people watching live, and we can go through and say, okay, we're all going to at once send Bijan Robinson an Instagram DM telling him to come on Flock Fantasy. If we do that selectively to a ton of different players, we'll be in a good spot. Eric says, just bring Trey Lance on the channel. Oh, I would embarrass myself. Now, James Conner off the board. And just like we were saying, the running backs we would be looking at are David Montgomery, Javonte Williams. The wide receivers we would be looking at would be Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton. So I think we made the right decision going through and quote-unquote reaching to grab Jahan Dotson where we did, but I definitely stand by it. Okay. Let's see what Prod decides to do. Goes Anthony Richardson. So actually, I guess we're not going to be taking a running back here. Instead, we will take Darren Waller, getting him about 10 picks, bind ADP. Not only are we getting Darren Waller here, allowing us to possibly only have to draft 2 tight ends. Don't necessarily know if we are going to stop at 2. Depends on where we get our second guy. But at the same time, we do have Barkley as well. So we can go through and get like a sneaky little double stack if we decide to go ahead and draft Daniel Jones a little later on. So I like the value of Darren Waller. I know we have a couple members of the flock in this chat right now that really do like Darren Waller as well. But we'll try to stay a little creative with it. We'll see what happens. Okay. Now we have David Montgomery off the board at 92. Mr. Shock says, get Zach Wilson. I don't think he's busy. I would love to have Zach Wilson on the channel. I'd be very, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be good at interviewing someone like that. Okay, Elijah Moore goes pick 94. Michael Thomas goes 91. You know what would be probably entertaining is if I could get like Johnny Manziel or someone like that on to record a top 5 fantasy football running back target video and then title it like Johnny Manziel's top 5 fantasy football targets for 2023. Good or bad idea, ladies and gentlemen? Good or bad idea? Okay. So now we have Javonte going. This team takes 4 running backs in a row here. Not going to say it's bad at all. I mean, this team that has at wide receiver Jefferson, Metcalf, now Jameson, quarterback Mahomes, tight end Hawkinson, and then running back Walker, Dalvin, Swift, and Javonte. Okay. Mitchell coming out says, I finally made a live stream. Love the vlog. Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us here, my friend. Nick says, I went to high school with Lance. I swear I'm not trolling. We are both from Marshall, Minnesota, and graduated together. We found our way in, ladies and gentlemen. We found it. Okay. And Nick, you better have more Trey Lance in fantasy football drafts than I do. I'm sitting with about 27, 28% Trey Lance. You better be sitting with 50% Trey Lance if you went to high school with the man. If I went to high school with anybody that was in the NFL right now, I would have, even though I went to college with Bijan Robinson, sadly, the only interaction we had is when he stuffed me in the locker. But Alvin Kamara going off the board 101. See what Slick Willie decides to do. Only has one running back, the one running back being Bijan Robinson. Nick says he's roughly at 30%. Love to see it, my friend. Love to see it. Tank says he's at 50%. We'll go ahead. We'll take Evan Ingram. We'll be done drafting 2 tight ends. Very, very few teams are going to be able to get Darren Waller in round 8, Evan Ingram in round 9. So I think it's a unique build. I think it's a build at the same time where we are giving ourselves the flexibility of only having to draft 2 tight ends, that we could play with the other roster spots a little later on. So interesting spot to be in. Interesting spot to be in. Okay, so Zach Charbonnet off the board 104. And I just realized we were supposed to go live on the Dynasty channel about 5 minutes ago. Dear God. Sorry, sending a message on the Dynasty live stream. Okay, so Daniel Jones goes. Daniel Jones definitely a quarterback we are looking at 114 to try to get that double stack with Darren Waller as well as Saquon Barkley. Not regretting it all. Our Evan Ingram selection 103. Feel like when you get the opportunity to take Ingram there, you kind of have to pull the trigger. But Joshua says, Deshaun Watson the best value on Underdog right now. I'm not going to disagree with you, my friend. Let me pull up how many drafts I have Deshaun Watson in. Watson's been falling in the majority of drafts to the end of the 8th where I take him, but he falls so often to like the 8-9 turn where I'm sitting with Deshaun Watson in 17% of my drafts as my 3rd most drafted quarterback. Let's move this down. I did go to college, like the University of Texas, and see some players walking around campus very often. Someone that I'd see walking around campus very often was, do y'all remember Mo Bamba? I'd see Mo Bamba often. I went to the local wing bar where I frequented, of course. And then what else? Who else would I see? I'd see Sam Ehlinger a lot. I had a class with Colin Johnson. He was a wide receiver for the Jags/the Giants. I believe I had a class with Devin Duvernay as well at one point. I could be mistaken. I could be making that up. But I definitely had the class with Colin Johnson. What am I doing here? Okay, quarterback. Cousins doesn't do anything. Rodgers doesn't do anything. Geno doesn't do anything for us. Jacoby Myers, we kind of need another wide receiver. We'll go ahead. Yeah, let's just pull the trigger on Jacoby Myers. I mean, gets a decent contract. Should be running routes. We need another wide receiver, and that's about it. Okay. Logo says, was Vince Young teaching over there? I believe not. Matthew McConaughey was teaching. My girlfriend almost had a class with Matthew McConaughey teaching. But Sean says, what did you end up majoring at UT? I thought I was going to go to medical school before Flock Fantasy blew up. So I actually got 2 degrees at UT the 4 years I was there. I got a degree in biology and exercise science, my friend. Okay. So Austin says, how many likes for another draft? I'm stuck at work for another hour at least. If we hit 550 likes on this live stream, my friend, we will go ahead and we'll fire up another draft after this one. Okay. Now let's move this down. So Kincaid, Jared Goff off the board. So we're definitely done drafting tight ends, and we're really hoping that we see as many tight ends off the board as possible. So good for us to have Dalton Kincaid go pick 115, but we'll see what else happens here. Now Rodgers finally off the board 120. He says, why do you go Jahan Dotson over Quentin Johnston? Thought you were talking about the stack. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the stack if this room went a little more running back heavy than wide receiver heavy of getting Quentin Johnston in round 8. Clearly, that did not happen. Johnson goes directly after us at 80, but sometimes we'll see Quentin Johnson falling to the middle of the 8th round based off of how the room drafts overall. But once you saw this run on wide receivers where you had like Bergs, Flowers, Deontay, Gabe Davis all going in a row, we knew we had no shot at getting Johnson on the way back around in week 8. Okay. Chris, happy to see you out here, my friend. McKinnon off the board. McKinnon, not really someone that I'm looking to target. At what point does Cousins fall so far we just draft him? What point does Geno fall so far where we just draft him? Jamal goes 125. You're looking at a 25 pick fall at this point for Cousins based on ADP. We could get Osborne. Of course, you're not excited about that. Really don't like taking Cousins unstacked because if you are seeing Cousins spike, it's because you have a massive Jefferson, Thielen, or Hawkinson game. Like, it's not like Cousins going to have a lot of rushing production. But it is pick 127. He will literally never fall here. We'll go ahead. We'll take Kirk Cousins. The way that maybe we tell this story and how it works out is if you have a Justin Jefferson injury at the beginning of the season, right? Justin Jefferson goes down, misses the first 8 weeks, the first 10 weeks of the year. And all those Justin Jefferson teams no longer advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament, and they actually end up somehow, some way, knocking a lot of Cousins teams out as well. And then we get massive spike weeks from Cousins / Jefferson in the fantasy football playoff tournament. I don't know. We're doing mental gymnastics, of course, but pick 127, Kirk Cousins. Sure, we'll go ahead and take him. We'll take him. Caesar coming out says, hey, Mason, got the $10 underdog credit. Glad to be a mother flocker. Happy to hear that, my friend. Yeah, we've been working our asses off to make sure that we can get that incorporated with the site and get everybody their underdog credit. I've worked hard to get that, my friend. But yeah, of course, if y'all have not already, if you are a member of flockfantasy.com and Underdog Fantasy as well, you should have seen the announcement in the Discord earlier today, but head over to your account page on flockfantasy.com. Put in your Underdog username, and you will get $10 Underdog credit added to your account. Now, Khalil Herbert going off the board 135. Darnell Mooney goes 136. We cannot take him at. We are exclusively running back, wide receiver from here on out. Thielen goes. Do we just take Romeo Doubs? F it. We'll go Doubs. Where is Osborne? Osborne ADP 150. Next time we'll be on the clock will be 151. So KJ Osborne will be our next target here, ladies and gentlemen. Cue it up like this. Bam. All right, we have Higbee going off. What we need to see, what we really want to see, is as many tight ends going off the board as possible. We have Waller, we have Ingram. Honestly, send these quarterbacks away as well. We have Herbert and Kirk Cousins. Let's see some blue and purple. God, I'm an idiot. I almost said pink. But Dylan coming out, thank you so much, my man, says, hey, Mason, long time no see. When in a regular 10-team PPR draft, should I grab the high-end tight end Andrews in the third? Hawkinson seems to go late fourth. Kelsey, untouchable. Okay. What I would personally do, if you are in a 10-team PPR redraft league that is an extremely shallow format, where you are starting one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. In an extremely shallow format like that, it is going to be incredibly easy for you to be able to go through and for you to be able to just find cheap wide receivers and running backs at all times. What I would rather do is I would rather go ahead and grab that elite level tight end in an extremely shallow format like this. Completely fine going third round Mark Andrews here. That's what I'd be looking to do, my friend. The low roller coming out says, this is Renegade from the last draft. Enjoy your show. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, my man. We're really happy to see you out here. I know I've been in a lot of drafts with you. Now, let's see. Kyler going off the board, 146. Good for us. Come on. Osborne. Okay. Let's see. I mean, Osborne probably not going to matter too much at the end of the day, but we'll see. The amount of teams that will have Kirk Cousins round 11 or 12, wherever the hell we took him, and then KJ Osborne is the only Cousins stacked, slim to none. Okay, Algier off. We'll go ahead. We'll take KJ Osborne. So very unique, very interesting team where so far, wide receiver, we have Stephon Diggs, Mike Williams, Jahan Dotson, Jacoby Myers, Romeo Doubs, and KJ Osborne. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson, Miles Sanders. Quarterback, we have Justin Herbert stacked up with Mike Williams. We have Kirk Cousins stacked up with KJ Osborne. Tight end, we have Darren Waller and Evan Ingram. Okay. Interesting. ER7 says KJ Osborne has more points this season than Justin Jefferson. Clip it. Honestly, my man, I'm feeling it. I think we could see it. Okay. Yeah. Austin says this team's pretty solid. I like this team. I think our team in the last draft was a little better. I think our team in the last one was beautiful. This one's just fine. Okay, Deontay Foreman off. We definitely need a couple more running backs. We're going to be taking 2 more backs with this draft. So Carr falling. Carr is not going to be in play for us. Neither is Jordan Love, even if we have Romeo Doubs. I mean, at this point, we are really trying to stress grabbing a couple running backs and wide receivers here. Singletary goes 158. I mean, I've personally taken a lot of Singletary when he's fallen. Okay. Prod on the clock has Lamar and Richardson, so probably doesn't go with another quarterback, right? Dominic says Dynasty stream. Yes, as soon as we get done with this draft, my friend, we are going to go ahead and we are going to fire up a Dynasty live stream. Okay, Josh Downs goes. We'll go ahead. We'll take Van Jefferson. I mean, maybe he's the wide receiver 2 right now in Los Angeles. Maybe we get a couple spike weeks. Probably not. Who knows? Doesn't really matter. Okay. Nathan says, rip, Jaden Reed falling to you. I was definitely eyeing Jaden Reed. I was hoping that it's who we were going to be looking at. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's scroll this down. And to be honest with you, we are now about 20 minutes late to that Dynasty live stream. So what we're probably going to do is set that up right now. Let me go ahead and pull up that sleeper draft and get us set up to send all these links out. Nick says, Jaden Reed is my 3rd highest drafted player. I don't blame you at all if you want to go heavy on Jaden Reed. I mean, the big thing is you just have to make a bet like, is Jordan Love good? Personally, I have no idea if Jordan Love's any good, but if you think he is, then hell, go for it. Okay, let's grab this link. God, I'm getting tired. Okay, Juwan Johnson goes off the board 170. Okay, so here's what we're probably going to do. I'm going to make our next selection. Then most likely bounce from this live stream straight to the Dynasty live stream, and we'll have a Dynasty startup draft there. So I'll get y'all the link right now if you want to go and hang out with us in that Dynasty live stream. Okay. We'll be live maybe in 3 minutes here. Okay. Dynasty stream. And the link is spammed in the chat if anybody wants to go and join with us. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Really do appreciate y'all hanging out with us. And as always, if you have not done so, drop a like, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to get in our next draft with us, we are doing this literally every single day. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings. And if you're a member of flockfantasy.com, so much more that you've already heard me talk about. Just go make sure you're in the Discord, make sure that you're seeing everything else you're getting. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will see y'all with the Dynasty live stream in literally 90 seconds. You can find that link in the live chat where we'll be doing a Dynasty startup draft there. Just give me 90 seconds to get that set up. But thank you. Really do appreciate y'all and really do hope that you have a great day.